Hey, what's up, guys? Here's Saturday morning. Just having some coffee and looking at charts. Just kind of going over, mentally the week, see where I think we're going next week, look at some stocks, look at maybe set some alerts on TradingView. Just some of my thoughts on everything. You know, here's the cues. It's interesting on the cues. We made new highs, which is great, but always a spot where you got to really think about what you're holding. Right now, I'm not talking any prop firm intraday trading. I'm kind of talking about options and investing. I sold the majority of my options yesterday and the day before. So right here, I probably got rid of 80% of my holdings in options land. The only thing I'm holding is like RTX. I'm holding some coin. Holding some MSTR and RL. But like everything I'm holding is out far for the most part. Um, yeah, I mean, it flashed a sell signal. Well, flashed one over here. Then we turned back green, and now we're flashing again on the daily. Now, mind you, you could stay overbought on the daily for a bit of time before you get a pullback. Argument's sake, say we flashed a sell sign right here. That's not saying the next 3 days we can't come up, hit up here, and then the pullback is literally, in this range. But you would have got killed on options if you did that, especially short-term ones. I use these as a gauge on kind of what I want to be holding and how much I want to be holding. You can see, when it flashes green, I'm okay holding, a bag of options that I'm swinging that are out a couple months. And then, when it starts to turn down, I reduce my position and it is what it is. If I'm down on the position, I'm down on the position, I get out. There's nothing worse than holding options to expiration, and they are worthless. So then, I'm just kind of looking. I already have an alert up here, up at 460. That's kind of where I thought we would end up going. I do say this chart on the last run up is very gappy. We gap from here to here, another gap up, and then another gap up, and it just kind of is spacious down there. I could definitely, I always say, like, I want to see those 5 to 10% pullbacks, mostly because it just gives you an opportunity to buy stocks that you might have missed out on. I have some stocks in mind. Some of them are on this list that I'd love to get in, but I'm not getting in when the market's up here. Because if the market pulls back, most likely we're going to get a pullback in some stocks that I want to own. One of them that I think is going to still go up. This coin is definitely has a little wedge-like vibe going on. Bitcoin has a really good chart for a breakout, so I'm curious to see if coin ends up breaking out here and we maybe see, the 240s, 250 levels. I saw some option sweeps for 245s for June. They look pretty good. I bought a vertical spread. But some of Amazon that got down here would have been nice. But yeah, like Amazon's one that I wouldn't mind owning in my retirement fund. Just gotta pull back. Mostly I look for stocks under $100. I want this. I'm not playing small cap stocks by any means, but I'm not looking for like an Apple that is just massive. You're not gonna get the move that I want out of that. So typically, wow, this is pretty much a double top on Crocs. Like, I love Crocs, but here's one that has my eye. Net. They had good earnings last 2 times ago. You could see this gap up, hit 115, and then I guess whatever happened on this earnings, I gotta look. But I have some alerts set, as you can see, these dashed lines. I love Cloudflare. I see everybody use it. I know a lot of people that use it. They're coming out with new things, and the company's just growing. And that's kind of what I look at more than anything. I don't look at earnings reaction. I look that the company is growing year over year, and that's really all that matters, because the cash flow will probably catch up in most industries. Like, they're going to turn profitable if they're not profitable. The big thing is you got to see that the company's growing, because with growth, you could do a lot of other things later down the road. And I feel like the stock will catch up. And cybersecurity is just massive. Here's one I completely messed up on. So earnings came out. I bought a bunch of long-term calls. Earnings came out. The reaction wasn't good. And I ended up dumping them that day. And boy, did I mess up. Especially that this chart was primed to go up. Usually I let things shake out for a couple days after earnings when I have options that are out. Like, we're in May, so I had like August and September's. I should have just let it shake out. That's like a rookie mistake on my part. This is one of those companies that I've owned in my retirement funds. The multiple is just getting really high at this point that I can't see myself owning it at $93 a share. It's just too high. I feel like one I kind of compare this to is, I know it's completely different, but On Running, On Holdings, they make the shoes. You almost want Celsius to have like this bad quarter. And, they went from 37 all the way down to 23. You kind of want to see that and give buying opportunity for everybody, and then get in before the following earnings, and then kind of ride the boat up. And that's kind of what On Holdings did. They make the running shoe. I believe they're a Swiss company. And the earnings were bad this time because of the rate, I think, the U.S. versus the Swiss. But yeah, so I don't want to go off track, but I feel like Celsius can use a down quarter or something that will then get investors back in at a lower price, and then we can ride the ship back up. But there's a couple companies like that I'm just like, man, I just wish they had some bad earnings. Just one quarter. DigitalOcean's one of those guys I keep a real good eye on. China stocks have been on fire lately. I know I talked about BABA previously. When BABA was down here, I bought it. I ended up selling it like 84-ish, which was, maybe I sold it I sold just around here or here, but I definitely bought it. I bought like September options, and it was a really good purchase. I feel like China's hot. China's hot till it's not, because you never really know what's going on over there, I guess. But yeah, a lot of people are stepping into the China boat. Shopify had earnings. So this is one that I like, that got that bad earnings I was talking about, that it might be time for me to purchase. I have, right here, I have an alert at 51. I was looking, maybe it fills that gap over here. And if we get that gap fill, that'd be really good. I don't know if we are. This is why I look every Saturday. I just kind of see where everything's at. Maybe I add some shop. Actually, let me, in case it goes to break over, I'll add the alert there. Maybe it drops, hits its pivot point. I like shop. Everyone's using it. It's not growing like, it was, but still growing year over year pretty decently. I do feel like they need a little something on their platform that brings the growth back up. I don't know what it would be, because they have all the Shopify stuff and whatnot, but I just feel like, they even have the lending arm, but I just look at it and I'm like, man, if they added just something new, uh, it could really go off. Man, this chart's looking primed. Primed. I like this. Problem is the space that we're in the payment processing space, is just so rough. There's so many people. Four is another one I like. Um, it's just the payment processing space is kind of saturated at this point. There's so many Venmo, Cash Apps, all like the ones on the apps on the phone. There's just so many processing companies. Um, oh, here's one I wanted to talk about. New Holdings. They had earnings the other day. I'm going to go over and review. I saw they passed their 100 millionth customer. They're growing. I know Buffett's invested in this company. I've had this alert here for a little bit. I can't buy, and I don't buy anything at like, new highs mostly. I'm looking for the pullback. This was a nice pullback. I just thought we'd maybe see close to 10, maybe dip under. I was in this at like 8 too. I was in this right around here, and then we went from there to like here in like literally just a couple weeks, and I was like, man, I just rode that from 8:30 ish to up a buck. I mean, that's a pretty big move in 2 weeks. So I took my money out. Should have held. Here's another one I love. Just can't buy it up here. I've traded it a bunch, and people might ask, well, why do you get out? Well, the reason I get out is because I've traded HIMS. If you look at the HIMS chart, oh man, I traded HIMS back in 2020. I've traded it, sometimes on the way down. I've traded it pops and got out, where like, if I just bought and held HIMS, I would probably be up a very little bit of money on HIMS. And I would have held it since probably 2020. I probably would have bought somewhere around here, $14, and I'd be about even. I should have, though, when it got to the point that it was at, $5, I probably should have said, hey, listen, I'm going to buy a position in this, and it will be my no sell position. But even that could have been dead money for a very long time, because I could have I bought it at $5 around here. I mean, we went up to 12, and then we went all the way back down into the fives. So at some point you have to do some type of trailing stop that gets you out. Maybe it's a 50-cent stop or something like that. Even then, you would have gotten stopped out, and 50 cents is like 10%. Here's 634. Yeah, I would have got stopped out right there. I mean, there's 50 cents is 10%. 10%, it goes pretty quick in this price range. But that's why I don't buy and hold. I definitely played HIMS a lot. I like it. I think they can just keep adding more products, and they can keep being successful. They already have the user base. It's pretty legit. SoFi had earnings not too long ago. Let me take the pivot points off. You know, I like it, but at the end of the day, it's a bank stock. You know, so is new, I guess, but uh, I don't know the verdict's out. I don't know if I'm completely sold on SoFi. Um, I don't know. I think when the rates drop, all of a sudden their numbers will get inflated. They'll get a lot more mortgages and things like that, and we'll see what happens. I just don't, you know, I don't see this being some like, all right, you know, we triple from here. I think it's definitely a playable stock. I just don't see the growth compared to like a company like Path that does robotic parts with AI and those humanoid robots coming in. I could see a company like Path taking off. Um, silver, man, silver's crazy. I can't buy silver. I actually rode silver from here to here. I talked about in another video. It came down. I didn't buy, and geez, this thing is just going. I don't know what's going to go on with silver. I'm not a huge silver and gold guy. I played it just purely on the chart, and I'm not one that chases, so I am out on it. But boy, that's a big move on silver, especially if you're playing options. You'd be up. You'd be up quite a bit, my friend. Um, Here's one I like. What's weird is it keeps saying that the earnings surprise to the downside. I would have to look into it to see what's going on. I wouldn't chase. How's that sound? But I do like SE. See what else is going on. This one was wild. Man, I was in this one in the 40s. That's right. Right around here. Right around here. And got freaking shaken out. PDD is interesting, but that's another China play. You know, I like Google, obviously. I think Airbnb is going to be dead money for a very long time, by the way. I've talked to some people that own Airbnbs, and basically they have said their numbers are just down. Um, you know, things spiked over COVID, obviously, like a lot of e-commerce things, but they're just saying how rentals are down. People are kind of trending back towards hotels. Um, you know, some things like you don't have to clean, you don't have to do anything at a hotel. And I think the Airbnb is just, it's not leaving. I think there'll always be a place for it, but their sales are definitely down. And I think Airbnb is going to be dead money for a while. I don't see this being a growth company anymore. It's just going to be, I wouldn't be surprised if we just kind of just slowly trended down over the next couple of years and just kind of rolled over unless something new happens. Love this company. I say this every Saturday when I do these videos. I just can't, it's hard to get behind it with the whole China thing, because if China ever invades Taiwan, this thing's smoked. But I would definitely buy it on a large dip. I sold my AMD. I think I told you that in the beginning of the video. I bought it to 200 and pretty much just sold. I mean, I sold literally yesterday, and that was it. I mean, in options land, it was worth quite a bit. I bought a small batch that expired in 2 weeks, which made a lot of money. And I had some that were out till August, and that was up a good amount. Ooh, I kind of like this on Tesla. That looks pretty legit. But I'm in on FedEx. I'm about even on FedEx. I have FedEx calls. I think my FedEx calls are out until October, I think, or September. I'm in. I'm in. Love crowd, but can't buy it up here. Last week I played that. I was talking on Saturday. I was in Alta. I was in like weeklies for Alta, and then we had this run up. Jeez, that paid. I like Netflix when they're doing these live things now. I just cannot pull the trigger at 6:20:21. Crazy. And that's it. I'm gonna do some scans. You know, what I look at right here on Saturday is more companies that I like, just seeing where everything is. Companies I don't like Etsy's just dead money also. Um, I just kind of look to see what's going on, get a feel for the market as a whole, because during the week I'm constantly just playing intraday stuff. I'm constantly scalping futures. I'm looking at 1 and 5 minute charts, and I don't get a full vibe of the market itself. So I take some time off on Saturday and put in about an hour to 2 hours. I just go through some of the companies I like on a valuation point, what I think I like to do in the future, and things like that. And then I'll dive into charts and I'll run some scans and start looking at companies on chart basis and not exactly what the company's doing. And then I'll view a couple of guys I follow on Twitter, see what they're talking about, some companies, because you can't do all the research yourself. You just can't. There's too much research to be done to cover every single stock. So obviously I'm on Twitter and I just review some of the guys I respect and talk about valuations and things like that, and I'll see what they're doing, and then I'll look at the charts and form my own opinion. And that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed Saturday coffee, some charts, and if you have any companies that you like, put them in the comments. I'll take a look. I'm always looking for new stuff, especially some of the lower, not penny stocks. Don't get it confused. When I talk lower cap, it's under a billion, under 5 billion. Just smaller stocks still trade on not over the counter or anything like that, and that they're not raising money every 3 months by selling stock. So sounds good. All right, I will see you everybody back on Monday for some trading.